If you live in Reynolds, Washington, Jefferson, St. Genevieve, or St. Francis County, and you care about your gun rights, you've got to watch this video. My name is Aaron Dorr with the Missouri Firearms Coalition, and with the August 4 primary right on the corner, the Senate District number 3 race is heating up, and it's getting really hot, folks. We're discussing this area over here. On the bottom side of St. Louis, and it goes down quite a bit, covering, again, parts of or all of 5 different counties: Reynolds, Washington, Jefferson, St. Genevieve, and St. Francis. And you have 3 candidates who are vying for your attention on the Republican ticket in this race. And the Missouri Firearms Coalition has surveyed all of them to give you the information you have to make an informed decision. First, we had the good news. Joshua Barrett. Joshua Barrett is a 3-time combat vet, U.S. Marine Corps, who surveyed 100% pro-gun with the Missouri Firearms Coalition. And again, these surveys aren't just a token thing they do. When he puts his name on the record, and you can see his survey for yourself right now, beneath this video is the link. When he puts his name on the record, what he's doing is giving you guys the ammo you need to hold him accountable if he betrays you down the road. And so he has said on the record, he will always vote no on red flag gun seizures. He will always vote no on universal background checks or gun registration schemes. He'll always vote no on waiting periods. He'll always vote against attempts to raise the age of when you can buy a firearm. He'll always vote no on any attempt to repeal stand your ground law. And he'll always vote yes, he said in his survey, on CAPA legislation, the Second Amendment Preservation Act, as well as our bill to rid Missouri finally of deadly gun-free zones. So every question we asked Joshua Barrett, he was 100%, 100%. Not so, however, with some of the rest of the candidates, and you're going to see that here right now. Let's jump down to Kent Sissom. Now, Kent is a non-political person, business owner in the district, but Kent is a rather moderate individual from all we're seeing and hearing from our members in the community. And what we do know for a fact is that Kent has refused to sign the Missouri Firearms Coalition candidate questionnaire. And again, what that almost always means is that this is a guy who doesn't want to be held accountable. This is a guy who may intend to go and vote against our gun rights and doesn't want to be on the record breaking his word. So we asked Kent, where do you stand on red flags? He won't answer us. AR-15 ban, he won't answer us. Gun registration, he won't answer us. How about, will you support CAPA legislation? Kent Sissom won't answer any questions when it comes to our Second Amendment freedoms. Nothing. And again, in our experience, anytime a candidate refuses to tell you where they stand, especially in a contested primary, it's a pretty good sign that person is not going to be a friend of the Second Amendment. So be very careful with regards to Kent Sissom. And that leaves Elaine Gannon. Now, Elaine is kind of a mixed situation. I'll explain what I mean here momentarily. Elaine surveyed pro-gun, and we'll give her credit where it's due. She surveyed pro-gun. But Elaine is already in the Missouri House. And so you can then kind of compare and contrast her promises now as a candidate versus her deeds in the Missouri House for the last couple of years. Here's an example. So we asked Elaine, would you support the Second Amendment Preservation Act? And she said yes on her survey. But here's the problem. Earlier this year, we introduced CAPA in the House, House Bill 1637, and Elaine had a chance to co-sponsor, and she refused. Later on, as almost 90 members of her caucus co-sponsored, we again asked Elaine to co-sponsor, and she refused. More importantly, though, 881 emails were sent through our online advocacy tool to Elaine's email system. 881 constituent emails, every one of them from her district, from you guys, saying, we want you to co-sponsor CAPA legislation. And again, Elaine refused. So on the one hand, sure, we're happy that she surveyed that she would support CAPA if elected, but where was she for the last 5 months in Jeff City on CAPA? That's not all, though. See, we also asked her if she would support gun-free zone repeal legislation. She said she would. But that bill was also filed this year, House Bill 1638. You can look it up and verify it. She also refused to co-sponsor that bill. These are the two biggest pro-gun bills in Missouri this year with the most amount of grassroots support. A couple of them got through various committees before the COVID-19 situation kind of shut down the entire session. But these are the two biggest gun bills moving in Jeff City. And Elaine Gannon refused to co-sponsor both of them. So you're going to have to ask yourself and decide for yourself. We're not going to answer that question for you. Is Elaine Gannon suddenly, super solid on guns? Or is Elaine Gannon in a primary and she's trying to say whatever she thinks she has to say to the voters, to gun owners, to get the support of Second Amendment voters? That's a decision that you're going to have to make. But again, to recap very briefly, if you're in Reynolds, Washington, Jefferson, St. Genevieve, St. Francis County, District 3, up this area here in the south side of St. Louis and going down a couple counties, 3 candidates want your attention. Kent Sissom refuses to answer any questions on where he stands on your gun rights. Very dangerous. Elaine Gannon surveys pro-gun now, but none of that comports with her actions in the House over the last couple of years. The question has to be asked, is this survey legitimate? And that leaves finally Joshua Barrett. Again, Joshua Barrett surveyed 100% pro-gun on all of our questions. He will support pro-gun bills. He will oppose the entire Bloomberg agenda in Jeff City, and he did so happily with no pressure involved or required. So if you live in those counties, guys, these are the facts you have to know. Share our video on social media. Share it far and wide. Make sure everyone knows where these 3 candidates stand. And to join the Missouri Firearms Coalition, guys, go to joinmofc.com.